Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly special from Thailand. It's a program that's completely changing the game on how kids learn to do good in the world. It's called the Morality Project. So let's just jump right in with a pretty big question, right? We all talk about wanting to teach good values, but how do you actually do that? I mean, how do you get past just lecturing and actually get people, especially young people, to put those values into practice? Turn goodness from just an idea into a real, tangible action. Well, it turns out that in Thailand, a group of schools called Buddhist Path schools have come up with a really incredible answer. They call it the Morality Project, or Okrong Ngam. And listen, this is not just another boring class. It's a totally hands-on thing where the students themselves are the ones who go out, find real problems in their community, and then build their own projects to solve them, all through doing good deeds.
All right, Section 1, a project for goodness. So what's the big deal here? What makes this whole thing so unique? Let's dig in.
Okay, first things first, you gotta understand this is so much more than just a regular school assignment. It's all based on this Buddhist Path school model, which is all about holistic learning. That just means it connects what you learn in the classroom, your ethics, your knowledge, with actual real-world action out in the community. Plain and simple, it's all about learning by doing.
So now we're at Section 2, finding the problem. Okay, before you can do anything, you have to figure out what you're going to do, right? So how do these students actually go about finding a problem? How do they land on something in their community that they genuinely care about fixing?
And this, for me, is where it gets really, really cool. See, the project doesn't just throw the students in the deep end and say, hey, go find a problem. No way. It actually gives them this amazing framework, a really powerful tool to guide their thinking. And what's wild is that it's both super philosophical and, at the same time, unbelievably practical. So get this. The framework is the Four Noble Truths, or Arya Sashi Sua. Now, this is a core concept in Buddhism, but what they've done here is just genius. They've repurposed it as a step-by-step guide for project management. It goes like this. Step 1, the problem. You figure out what's actually wrong. Step 2, the cause. You dig deep to find out why it's happening. Step 3, the goal. You define what a win looks like. And step 4, the path. You create a real, concrete plan to get there. I mean, how brilliant is that? It's such a clear, logical, and honestly a profound way to tackle just about any problem. Okay, Section 3, building the blueprint. So they've got their problem, they've used the Four Noble Truths to see the path forward. What's next? Well, now it's time to turn that idea into an actual rock-solid plan. This is where they build the blueprint. There's a great saying in the project guide itself, which I love. It says, a good plan is half the battle won. And that really hits the nail on the head, right? This whole phase is not about just rushing in. It's about being thoughtful, working together, and getting everything lined up before you start. And they don't leave it to chance. The whole thing is mapped out on a really clear 8-week timeline. As you can see, week 1 is all about getting your team together and finding that problem. Week 2, you're using the Four Noble Truths to analyze the cause and set your goals. Then you spend a couple of weeks drafting your plan and, crucially, getting feedback. Weeks 5 to 7, that's the do phase. You're out there making it happen. And finally, week 8 is for reviewing and getting ready for the big presentation. It just breaks it all down into totally manageable chunks. And building the team itself is a really structured process. It's not just, hey, you're on my team. No, they assign clear roles. They create what's called a mind map, a Phang Manitat, which is basically a visual diagram of the entire project. And this is my favorite part. They actually hold public hearings and do surveys to get feedback from the community they're trying to help. Think about that. It means their project is already backed by the community before they've even started doing anything. And that brings us to Section 4, action and reflection. All right, this is the moment we've been building up to. This is where all that amazing planning finally becomes real-world action.
The motto for this stage is just perfect. It's let's go do and see. It just perfectly captures that energy, right? That spirit of just getting your hands dirty and getting to work. It's go time. But here's the thing. Doing isn't just a single event. They use this fantastic cycle of improvement. First, you do. You roll out the first part of your plan. Then you check. You have weekly meetings, you track your progress, you see what's working and what's not. Then you act. You review the results and figure out how to make it better. And then you repeat the whole cycle. It's brilliant. It teaches the students to be agile, to think on their feet, and to always, always be looking for ways to improve.
Okay, Section 5, the Goodness Market Fair. So after all of that hard work, the planning, the action, the improvement cycles, we get to the grand finale. This is the big celebration of everything the students have achieved. And it's called the Goodness Market Fair, the Talad Nat Kwam Di. I mean, what a great name. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. A huge festival where all the students get to show off the amazing goodness that they've brought into the world.
And this fair is way more than just a science fair for good deeds. The students give presentations, sure, but they share the whole journey, the highs, the lows, what went wrong, and what they learned. It's a chance for teams to share their experiences. The entire school community comes together to celebrate. And most importantly, it's a moment for the students to really reflect, not just on the work they did, but how it made them feel. And really, that brings us to the absolute heart of the Morality Project. There's this quote from the guide that says it all. The learning outcome has two sides, learning about the work and learning about your feelings. See, the project was never just about getting a task done. It's just as much about personal and emotional growth. It's about building real empathy, real resilience, and getting a much deeper understanding of yourself in the process.
So, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. If you were to use that same 4-step framework, problem, cause, goal, path, what's one goodness project that you could start in your own community? What's something you'd want to fix? Really think about it.